So, Spooptober is back. For those who don't know, it's just a tradition where I make lots of Halloween videos throughout October. And back in last year's Spooptober, I made a video all about Halloween/horror games. And I did talk about some big games, but there's so many games I didn't talk about. Halloween and horror games are so diverse, so many different kinds of games, that I didn't talk about them last time. So I wanted to make a new video talking about and reviewing a ton of Halloween games. And yeah, not gonna drag out this intro, let's just start the video. But before we get to the released games, I wanted to talk about some upcoming Halloween games that have recently been revealed, just to see what the future of Halloween games will be. First off, A Day Out. This game is all about famous monsters, like the Mothman, aliens, Bigfoot, the Flatwood Monster, etc. And it's a genius premise. We've seen time and time again how a game where it's just you versus a monster can work. And having the monster be real-life monsters is genius. I've played the demo, and this game masters horror. They make you be the one to find the monsters, like you actually have to look for them. Like you gotta look into the sky to find alien ships, or finding Bigfoot in the forest. It's a culmination of real-life monster culture, and after playing the demo, it's by far the best game I've talked about so far. And the first game. Go play the demo, it's free. Next, Choo Choo Charles. This is a horror game based around an evil spider train, obviously mimicking Thomas the Tank Engine. And when it was revealed, I thought it was dumb, just another one of these games that takes a beloved character and makes him a spooky monster. But at Summer Game Fest, they showed a lot of footage, and oh my god, this might be the best horror game I'll ever play. It's open world, so you can travel around a massive island, and Charles is always on your tail. And your goal is to find trains on train tracks, fix them, add weapons to them, and try to defeat Charles. It looks amazing! They took what could have been another crappy horror game and made it creative. I love always having something after you in games, and this is that, but with a satanic spider train, and you try to kill it with a fire gun train. And it's open world. It looks amazing. And last but not least, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the video game. So Killer Clowns is a cult classic cheesy horror movie. It's definitely not a good movie, but it's fun and spooky. And with it being such a cult classic, it must have become a multimedia franchise, right? Nope, the owners, MGM, mistreated the franchise. They barely made any merch, no animated shows or comics, and they were going to make a sequel, but they only gave it a budget of $1 million, which in terms of movie budgets is terrible. That wouldn't even have covered making half the movie, so it was cancelled. And with the franchise being dead for so long, we all assumed it would stay dead. But then during Summer Game Fest, we got a trailer for a new Killer Clowns game. It's a game where there's 10 clowns and 10 humans, and there's a map that they're on, and the humans have weapons, and so do the clowns, and the goal is to kill everyone on the opposite team. Whether that's the human team or the clown team, and to survive you can hide somewhere on the map. And it looks fun. It's basically like if Splatoon had a Battle Royale mode. And I love Splatoon, and online team versus games in general, so this game looks awesome. And it's said to be updated continuously over time with new maps and characters, and maybe even crossover horror characters. This game has so much potential. I'm honestly really excited for this game. And those are just a few upcoming horror/Halloween games that I wanted to talk about. The future of these kinds of games looks bright, but to truly understand Halloween/horror games, we should take a look back. Let's look at some of the most popular recent horror games. Dead by Daylight. So we all know slasher movies, the iconic scene where a killer is chasing a teenager with a knife, but what if you could play as a killer? Well, that's Dead by Daylight. You can play as a bunch of different original killers, and you track down and kill some people on the map. And it really feels like a slasher movie. Like the survivors you're chasing will say the stuff that they would say in the movies, and actually do that kind of stuff, like hide under a bed or trip on nothing and crawl away. It's really well made. And the coolest thing is, the success of the game let them do crossovers with actual slasher characters like Michael Myers, Ghostface, Demogorgon, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, and more. It makes this game so much better. It's the pinnacle of slasher video games. Poppy Playtime. The new trendy game. What people are saying is the next FNAF, and I kinda like it. I love the graphics, it looks realistic, especially for an indie game, and Huggy Wuggy's design is really good. Because it feels like it could be a real kid's character, but is still scary. And the horror in the game is really well made. It's just really scary, and honestly, a well-made game. But I really can't like this game. The creators made NFTs for the game, and we all know how horrible NFTs are. And even though the game isn't finished yet, they've made a movie deal, merch, and much, much more. It's kinda scummy and money-hungry. But the game has good horror, good graphics, just not good creators. Doki Doki. This game is just a dating simulator. Just a typical one with anime girls, corny dialogue, etc. Wait, what the f***? This game is meant to seem like a date simulator, but it's really a super dark game. And it's so cleverly made. The actual horror happens naturally. It's not just a dating sim that has shots of horror in it. It's a horror game with a dating sim mask. And it's so clever and new, and it became viral because of that. and that did kinda hurt the game. The point of the game is that it makes you think it's a dating sim, but surprises you by actually being a horror game. But since it's so viral, basically everyone already knows that it's a horror game, so the game can't really be played how it was supposed to be. But it's still a cool, fun, creative game, and I recommend it. Carry On. So have you ever seen those monster movies and been like, what would this be like from the monster's perspective? Well, this is Carry On. You are the big monster, and your goal is to kill all the guys in the area, and it's really fun. It really feels like you're playing as the monster in a monster movie, and the sprite work is really good, especially on the monster itself. The game is really good, especially for an indie game. It just captures monster movies in a video game, and it's just simply fun. Slender the 8 Pages. This game itself may not be remembered, but what it started will. This game is what really started the Slender Man craze, and cemented this dripped-up white guy as an icon of creepypasta culture. The game is pretty simple, with you just needing to find and collect 8 pages, but Slender Man is always following you, and you gotta avoid him. I actually think the horror in this game is pretty good. Slender Man doesn't charge at you or chase you, it just stands there, waiting for you to shine a light on it, and yeah, it does have jump scares, but the rest of the scariness more than makes up for it. It's surprisingly an actual good horror game. Pumpkin Jack. So back in the Nintendo 64 days, 3D platformers were the genre. It was like every game that released back then. But since then, the 3D platformer genre has kinda died, and now the only 3D platformers made are Mario obviously, or ones that bank off of nostalgia, like the creators of Banjo-Kazooie making Yooka-Laylee. But back in 2020, we got an entirely original 3D platformer, and the best part is, it's Halloween themed. Pumpkin Jack. It perfectly captures that childlike Halloween feel, and the actual levels are great. They're so well designed and, dare I say, rival Mario 64, and the Halloween aesthetic just makes it even better. And the moveset are great too. You can slash, punch, jump, etc., but you can also take off your pumpkin head and crawl around like a spider. That's so clever. And for being made by just a couple people in a short amount of time, it's super impressive. If you like Halloween aesthetics or 3D platformers, play it. It's really good. And those are just some notable Halloween and horror games I wanted to talk about. This obviously isn't all of them, not by a long shot, but this video is already pretty long, and I think I finally made a true video about Halloween games. And now, since I know you're thinking it, I'll give you a second to click off this video and watch a better one. Just pick one, this video's over. Go on.